All on Front Street is where the truth takes center stage and no topic is tucked away. This is unapologetic, unfiltered, a podcast that puts the real out front, where the conversations that matter, stories they don't want told, and the voices the mainstream tries to silence. From entertainers and authors to influencers, journalists, and independent business owners. No guest is off limits and no conversation is too raw. If it's shaking culture, exposing industry games, or breaking generational curses, it's going on Front Street. Expect bold interviews, streetwise commentary, behind the scenes revelations, and moments that'll make you laugh, gasp, or rethink everything you thought you thought. Welcome. You got Jaguar Wright in the building, and you got the Wolfgang. I am here. I'm just the co-pilot, and this is part 2, episode 2, where we put everything out there on Front Street. Now, Jag, you were friends with Eric Benet. I take it.
Yeah, that was a terrible. That was all terrible. It really was. Watching what happened to him, his reputation, to his career. Yeah, it was nasty. It was very, very, very nasty. You know, it's funny because a lot of men aren't perfect. A lot of men make a lot of mistakes. A lot of men do a lot of things. But, you know, when we start allowing women to destroy men's character for their own gain, that's when it's just too much. And that's just how I felt about the whole Halle Berry, Eric Benet situation. Labeling that man as a sex addict was totally out of control. He wasn't. What he was a feral black man, and he loved women, and he did. And he ended up with what was supposed to be America's sweetheart, and it turned out to be an American nightmare for him. His assets were frozen. He wasn't even allowed to get to his own money until he agreed to sign a bunch of paperwork and do an interview labeling himself a sex addict on American television. And then his money was finally released. And a lot of people keep forgetting that at that time, Halle Berry was heavily controlled by Hollywood, what I would call the Hollywood oligarchs. Warren Beatty was her handler. And, you know, it's so funny because all the time that she spent around him, you never heard his wife, Annette Bening, ever once acknowledge her or her, you know, achievements in acting. And Annette Bening was always a very pro-woman, supportive actress figure. So I always found it funny that she never really acknowledged this woman at all. There are a lot of conversations, and it was pretty much common knowledge that during the course of their marriage, when she did Monsters Ball, the sex scenes that happened between her and Billy Bob Thornton, who was also married at the time to Angelina Jolie, was Angie's second marriage, before she, you know, went and became Brangelina with Brad Pitt or whatever. You know, that marriage after that movie disintegrated. Like nobody even bothered to pay attention to the fact that after Monsters Ball, Angelina Jolie was out. They didn't do a whole lot of talking about it, but when you think about conversations being had, that sex scene between her and Billy Bob that make me feel good and all of that stuff, that wasn't acting, that was real. There was real penetration. It's been discussed for many years in the backdrop, whether or not people want to accept it or acknowledge it now. I want people to think about what that must have been like for Eric Benet to go down that red carpet with your wife.
Yeah.
To go into that theater filled with a bunch of people and then to watch what you believe in your heart what people are saying in the backdrop is a real sex scene with your wife. I'm sorry. I don't know too many black men that wouldn't have went out and slept with whoever they wanted to sleep with after that, because it was humiliating.
I mean, he got the ultimate pass.
Like I'm as a man, what say you?
Nah, man, I'm cool. I'm cool on any of the disrespect, because that's a form of disrespect. And I just have a rule. I said, just don't have me out here looking stupid. She had Eric Benet looking crazy, and then now you're telling me on the back end they made him, PR made him come out and say what he said to pretty much it's to
save her image,
to save face for her, right?
Yeah.
Now,
America's sweetheart at the time,
right? So right now we're looking at this tragic mulatto, Halle Berry, and her current boyfriend has been, I would say, kind of exploiting her, whoring her out. And she's on Instagram in I guess a bikini. And, she can do what she want to do. Not saying that she can't be in a bikini, but we have never really seen Halle like this. She's always been modest for the most part. She only did one scene where in a movie where you saw her breasts.
No, you didn't see the boxing film that she did on Netflix like a couple years ago.
She was naked too,
and she was she was having sex with men. She was having sex with women. She was bisexual. You didn't see that movie?
No, I did not. No.
Hold on a second. Let me get the deets on that. Yeah, no, that was all on. Yeah, she did it on Netflix. She actually, I believe she directed and produced that film. Wait a minute. Let me pull that up. Yeah, no, like she's been, getting a little edgy. And
but why do you think? Why do you think now? Because she's been in the game since, what was that one movie? She was a dang on crackhead with Samuel L. Jackson. I remember her from that was the early '90s, and then
you're talking about Jungle Fever. She wasn't that Jungle Fever?
Right.
Yeah,
that was Jungle Fever. That was a Spike Lee joint. Yeah, it was a Spike Lee joint. So now she's doing this. Why is this woman all of a sudden on Instagram? Panties dropping off, coming off.
The name of the movie is Bruised. It came out 2020.
Okay.
Let's take a look at the overview.
Let me play a little bit of audio of what she's saying here.
Beautiful is really an internal feeling. It has nothing to do really with our physical selves.
Okay, I don't want to play too much because I'm sure that's some copywritten music, but overall, she has a post here that says the best part of menopause, I don't give a F. Not about opinions, not about playing it cute. I move how I want. I wear what I want and do it for me. That's the freedom no one tells you about till you're living it. Okay, I'm not mad at that, but
she still never learned how to dance. Like her dancing still sucks. Like she's doing that same move that she was doing in Baps. Like it's just it's like when I saw that, I'm like, no, not the Baps dance. Like no. And then and she was dancing the same exact way in Bullworth with Warren Beatty, which was her first big crossover, because she literally went from like Baps to Bullworth and then Hollywood major motion pictures. Up until then, she was just a pretty girl in black movies. Mixed girl in black movies. Warren Beatty did a lot for her career. Yeah, but no, the overview for the movie Bruise that came out 2020 on Netflix. Jackie Justice, a disgraced MMA fighter who has failed at the one thing she's ever been good at, fighting. When 6-year-old Manny, the son she walked out on years ago, returns to her doorstep, Jackie has to conquer her own demons. And Yeah, she went from being with a man, and then she started training with a female boxer, and then she fell in love with her, and then she broke her heart, and then I don't, I mean, I watched it. She did a good job. I can't take anything away from it. It says directed by her, nominations, NAACP Image Award for Outstanding Actress in a Motion Picture. Yeah, and that was and the official release date was November 17th, 2021 on Netflix. So
okay.
That was like the last big project that she worked. But I noticed that the older she's gotten, she's tried to get more racy. She's tried to get more obvious. And the thing is if you're going through menopause, and if you're fighting menopause, and if this is your way of, fighting against hot flashes, then, I guess more power to you. But I still don't understand, why now? Like, it's just, there's a why now aspect to all of this. Her and Van have been together for like 5+ years. And honestly, for the first few years of their relationship, nobody even knew she was with Van Hunt. And most people didn't even remember who Van Hunt was. I knew who Van Hunt was. He was one of my label mates over at NCA Records, his first album. I hated the way they just kind of filed him off. They got him some good placements and some good movies and some good commercials, and and he got, and then they just, everyone forgot about Van. His song Seconds of Pleasure, oh my God, it is one of my favorites. Matter of fact, I've never played it for you. I'm gonna have to play it for you one day. I used to listen to it all the time. Gutsy blues and just this beautiful melodic tone, and ooh, girl, it's what you say, and take a phrase and a ribbon on your face. Dun, 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 dun. Like, and the whole song is about honoring this beautiful woman and honoring all of the little wonderful things, all the little wonderful moments that most people don't pay attention to, and how he shrined them and turned them into, like, he was always a hell of a poet, and he just had such a cool, groovy, vibe to him. So for me to see someone who's been this obscure, and now all of a sudden, and let's not say all of a sudden, because it was like a year ago when they started talking about how she was broke and didn't have no money, and they was coming down on her and running down on her for child support for all of the kids that she had with all those other men who took her kids from her.
She's the only sister I know that has to pay child support to white men. It's crazy.
Well, I mean, those are who she chose to have her children with, and for whatever reason, whatever the settlements were, the courts decided to side, with the men over her. But let's not pretend like all of the black men that she was with before she went through her mentor of white husbands, she had issues with Wesley Snipes. For her hearing. She had issues with David Justice. She's had issues with men her whole life. This isn't anything new. Which is why when Eric Benet decided he was going to jump into the saving Halle Berry game, I was kind of surprised because of all that people have said. Because the truth is, what a lot of men have had to say about her is that she's erratic, she's irrational, and she pushes people too far. Like, I remember when she drove her car through those people's house. It was right after Eric had broken up with her.
Oh, yeah.
Like, people keep forgetting.
In the early 2000s, right?
Yes, very early 2000s, 2001 or... I'm trying to think
about that. I remember that. She was a hit.
She ran her car into someone else's house. Eric Benet was sitting in Axis Studio right there at 7th and Callawhill in the back studios of Larry Gold. She was on the phone acting crazy, going nuts, talking about, look at what you made me do. This is what I did. You made me do this. This is your fault. While she's sitting in the police station, she's blaming him because he broke up with her because she was just nuts.
Wow.
And he couldn't take it anymore. So he broke up with her. She runs her car into somebody's house. Then all of a sudden, here comes the PR people, and you have to be there for her. You have to hold her together. And then they go and they get married out of the country rather than getting married in California where it was community property. So that she was able to tie him up and do all kinds of crazy stuff. I believe they got married in Antigua.
Wow.
And she used the Antiguan government to tie his money up and do all kinds of stuff and drop. Yeah, it was terrible.
Wow.
It was terrible.
A sad measure of endeavor indeed.
No, so I mean, that's why when I heard she was with Van, and I'm like, Van is quirky enough to maybe make that make some sense, and maybe she can find some happiness. And at the end of the day, I don't care who you are, what you are. I think everyone deserves to be happy. I do. I think everyone deserves to find some measure of happiness in their life. And there is someone for everyone, Thank God she found a man that's supporting her. I just find it funny that they didn't start, doing all of this social media publicity about their relationship and doing advertisements on the low for, sex wax and lubricants and
that
all of this stuff. Like, people are forgetting that's what they did on Mother's Day. It was the lubricant.
I totally forgot that's what that whole thing was for. It was for some goddamn on lube. Talking about her, wow. So she's getting paid. That's that. Obviously.
So they're monetizing her menopause.
Monetizing menopause.
They're literally monetizing her menopause, so she can pay her child support.
That sounds like a horror film. And you said to pay so she could pay her child support. Wow.
Don't forget, they weren't this public. They've never been this public.
No, you're right. Well, I always thought it was weird, and we were discussing before because I said, in Hollywood or Hollyweird, you do have couples, and that's what they do. They exploit. They put their stuffs out there. I get that, but I don't see like Courtney B. Vance and Angela Bassett doing these types of stunts. When you're an actress and you go to this level,
you want to know the difference?
What's the difference?
Angela Bassett is an executive producer and getting paid money for those 911 shows. She's got the money coming in.
She ain't got to do this. I get it.
If Halle Berry is being ran down by her baby's daddies for not being able to pay her child support, and people were saying that things were drying up for her, things were not looking
no pun intended because of the menopause.
Okay, well, you know what? Welcome to the Sahara Desert of her career and her personal life, apparently. My point is, all of that Hollywood engagement, all of that Hollywood action, she went on. Like, I just read you the film that she directed that got notable mention and notice on Netflix. Like, all of this, and they still. Where are your Hollywood friends now? Like, all of the people that convinced you to do the things that you did to Eric Benet, all of the time that you spent with Warren Beatty, where are your Hollywood people now?
Yeah, nowhere to be found.
Where are they now when you need it? When you need it, why is nobody giving you a series? Why is nobody giving you the kind of cushy job that they gave Angela Bassett with Fox? Like,
well, she's not in that inner circle anymore. That's pretty much what it is, because that's how they move in Hollywood. They'll move you in and out of that inner circle, and you don't get hooked up. I was talking to a few actor friends, actress friends that I know, and it's like they're dope, but it's like they're not going to get elevated because they're not going to the right parties. If you understand what I'm saying,
they're not doing all the things, or maybe you're just your old news.
There you go. That part.
Maybe you played out. You know what I mean? And it's sad when people see how disposable people's lives are. But when it gets to the point where, you know, you're approaching your 60s, slowly but surely. You know, Lena Horne would have never done this.
Yeah.
Gorgeous as she was.
Yeah.
Dorothy Dandridge, I don't see her doing stuff like this. Even Eartha Kitt became a little modest in her older years. You know what I mean? Marcus, darling. You know, she had on tights. You know, she had on her stockings. And her you know, it's like, and it's funny because they both played Catwoman at one point.
And they both were in Boomerang.
Yeah, and they both were in Boomerang. But I'm saying, you know, when it gets to the point where you have to monetize your menopause and monetize your relationship. And once again, this is a woman who has never had a problem with making her man sacrifice, you know, his divine masculine right to be able to. It's, you know, Monsters Ball was a big turning point in her career. That movie, that film, it was what she, I believe, won an Oscar for. She did. She did Dorothy Dandridge. She didn't get an Oscar for that, but she did.
Isn't it ironic that they executed Diddy in that film too?
In that film, yeah, Diddy was also a serial killer or something in that movie, and he got executed in that movie. And
the poor little kid, the poor little the kid who played her son, he ended up dying or doing some prison time. Yes.
In real life,
in
like
real
everything
life.
cursed around that film.
Man.
But I mean, I say all of that to say, for that to be the film that she won the Oscar for her to be a married woman, for her husband to have to sit there and watch people ogle all over her while she's sitting there, you know, it was, I mean, honestly, when you look back at it now, it all kind of feels like a humiliation ritual when you really look back at it.
Yeah.
And then, you know, after that, man, she started getting really big films. She did Swordfish with Hugh Jackman. And then they were also in the X-Men films together after that. But that was the first movie where she bared her breasts and she went topless for the first time. Like, for someone who fought so hard to keep her modesty, when she finally threw it out the door for the Hollywood big bucks, people are forgetting she was a married woman at the time. And I'm telling you right now, I knew the man that she was married to at that time, and it was a very uncomfortable place for him to be in. And here we are again, you know, now her and Van. And yes, it's a lot more innocent. It's not as vulgar or overt, but at 55 years old, and I want to ask you as a black man, would you be on board for that?
No, I'm not. No, don't ask me to film nothing. If that's part of your branding thing, then, you know, we'll just have to part ways. I'm cool. I'm not with all that.
Like, no. It's I think it's kind of unfair, because the truth is, she's been selling herself, her image, her body, her likeness, her sexuality to the American public for years. And it's like, when does it stop? And I think it's unfair. I think it's very, very, very unfair. But more importantly than that, why are so many people celebrating it like it's cool?
Right. Well, on that note, with this situation, that's a sad measure of endeavor indeed. Now, let me switch a little bit before we get out of here. When the last time you been to iHop?
It's been quite some time. Why?
Okay.
What's going on at iHop?
There's a sister who is going viral because she put iHop on Front Street. Check this out. That look, that's just part one. She's spitting. She like these drinking some coffee from a funeral, and they tell us not to waste it. We gotta say it. That is nasty. All right, look, I think this is another one. Hold on.
Coming in these fast foods thinking people gonna give a fuck about you because they don't. If we arguing over tables, they don't give a fuck about you if we gotta argue over tables. When it's about the people, you ain't gotta argue over no tables. You ain't gotta argue over tables when it's about the people. When it's about the people, you don't argue over tables. You argue over who's gonna get this table and really take care, not who getting the next money. Yeah, get out of here. Get out of here. Let them deal with that. Fuck. Y'all got me fucked up. I'm sick of this shit, bro. I'm the best employee in this bitch. I give everybody free coffee, free fresh food. They don't give a fuck about y'all ass. Fuck them niggas. Get y'all some free food right now. Get out this bitch on guard. I don't give a fuck. Get out this bitch, bro. If you want some free food, you better walk out this bitch right now. And if you don't, don't be looking at me on guard.
What do you think?
See, that's so unfair because that's such a Jaguar right moment.
That's why I said, what is this woman's Cash App? She's a hero.
Well,
but I'm not mad at her. I'm not mad at her.
This is the thing. And I don't think people understand. Like, people see that, they see these moments and they're like, oh my God, look at her. She's crazy. Oh my God, look at her. She's nuts. Oh my God, look at her. Look at her. Look at her. But how much crap was going on in that restaurant before she came to that breaking point?
Yeah.
Because it sounds like they've been sitting there selling bad food to the public for quite some time.
Yeah.
Like, in all of that you heard, did anybody pay attention to the fact that she said, I'm the only one that makes sure that the people that I serve get good food, get clean food. They're not drinking old stuff. They're not getting, expired milk. That's wild. It's wild that it's gotten that bad in the food game, that this is what they're selling to people.
Well, the funny thing is you were just talking about that late last year, early this year, about these restaurants, these places, because you know about purveyors, you know about all that, and you were just saying, yeah, it's best that we eat in and not go to these restaurants. Remember we went to the one and they served some very bad shrimp, and it was like, oh man,
it was rotten, and I was sitting there trying to convince myself that I was tripping. But when we got it on the plate, and when you look at the food supply, when you look at the price of food, all of it, it's just gotten to the point now where people have zero real expectation for decency anymore. It's like it's just it's survival of the fittest out there. And that's why I said to you, like, really, really, really got to start eating at home. And even going to going to the grocery store, you got to be careful.
I would suggest growing your own food or going to farmers markets. To be honest, like at this point, we got to get back. We used to do that. Like, I grew up in Compton and we had our own chickens. We used to do that. But my folks were from the South. So yeah, like now everybody go to the store. Man,
well, that's the thing. If everybody goes to the store and if everybody is eating what's at the store, then that means whoever is putting the food in the store is selecting what's going into your body, selecting what you're feeding to your family. That's what's happening. We all become so reliant on a system. And the thing is after this sister had this moment and put her job on the line, because you already know they gonna fire her.
Yeah, they fired her.
Yeah, you already know she fired.
She started airing out the white girls. I should have played that part. Go ahead.
Well, maybe we can end with that. But
yeah, let's do it. Go ahead.
But you know, she was definitely fired. The question is how many people saw that, heard that, and still went back there and ate anyway?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, I'll never forget. We were spending some time with a friend and the kid, and we were talking about, you know, you had gotten some chicken and the chicken was bad. And they was like, I'm hungry, I'll eat it anyway. Like, we've gotten to that point in our society where we really don't care about what we're putting in our mouths anymore. You know, my grandmother always used to say, never get used to eating by strange hands. You know, the easiest way to take a human being down is to poison them.
Exactly. And our elders back then, talking about thousands of years ago, what they say, let your food be thy medicine. On that note, yeah, let's go out with her crashing out. Shout out to her. I ain't mad at her. She
crashing out or jagging out. No, because I mean, everything that she was saying, she was doing it for the people. I won't call it a crash out. I'll call it a definite jag out. Because let me tell you something right now. I remember when I walked away from Victoria's Secrets, when I realized exactly how racist that company was back in the 90s. And they was calling us jungle bunnies, and they was getting mad at me for giving applications to other black girls who were surprised to see a black girl working in the store, and they was sitting there doing all kind of racial stuff. And I ain't gonna lie, I just started taking off all the censors on everybody that was a person of color and said it's National Jungle Bunny Day on behalf of Victoria's Secrets.
Wow.
And then I looked at them and I was like, what y'all gonna do? I was like, that's all right, I got my last check coming, I'm gone. I didn't flip out in the store, but yeah, I removed like 50, 60 different censors. I was like, go back, get the matching panties. It's National Jungle Bunny Day. And see, they couldn't say anything because I had already heard them saying it. I had witnessed them saying it, and someone else that was working in the storeroom witnessed it. So that's why I was like, Jungle Bunny, okay.
Wow.
Everybody that's a person of color gets a 100% discount today. And of course, they didn't file no charges and they didn't do anything, because the truth is I could have sued them and it would have looked a lot worse, and they didn't want the PR. So instead, I made sure a bunch of beautiful black and brown women got to get all of the wonderful silk scarves and silk gowns and all. Jungle bunnies. How dare you?
Wow. Yeah,
so,
man.
Let the sister jag out.
She didn't crash out. She jagged out. The jag out on iHop. All right, we're gonna go out with this, and again, thank y'all. This is the All on Front Street podcast, right? With Jaguar, right? And
Wolfgang Amadeus.
Well, you know, I'm just behind the scenes. I'm gonna bring in some other people so that you could talk with as well once we move forward with this. But if you want to, you know, get any more content of Jag, don't forget there's the Jaguar Right Uncensored, and you just go to thejaguarright.com, because anything and everything that is Jaguar Right will be there. All right, here we are. We're going out with this not a crash out, a Jag out.
In these fast food thinking people gonna give a fuck about you because they don't. You supposed to pull that shit out and get some new coffee. That shit not right. But they wanna fuck with me because this bitch, she's such a fucking snitch. Don't tip that bitch, bro. She don't watch after none of her tables. Her tables take like 20 to 30 minutes to be served, bro. Don't tip that bitch, bro. That bitch take forever to get to her tables, bro. Bitch, shut the fuck up, bitch. You trying to talk in front of your husband, he's cheating on you, bitch. Yeah, bitch. Stop playing with me, ho. For real, I don't give a fuck. I don't get 2 pounds on my mama. I don't not eat old ass French, old ass fucking coffee that's shared from depressed tables, coffee that's shared from people who fucked up in life. Y'all drink that coffee, so stop drinking that fucking coffee unless you say brew me some fresh coffee, then drink the coffee.
Ooh-wee.
She got sick and tired of still being sick and tired.
She said, yeah, bitch, your husband cheating on you.
Sure did. Yeah, that was a jag out. That was a classic jag out.
That was a jag. That was great. Fuck you. You cool. Fuck you.
Look, I ain't mad. It's we've just gotten to a point in time in society where we really don't have much value for human life, for each other, for our families, for our lives. Like, we've just gotten to that point, and sometimes people snap.
Yeah. Ain't nothing wrong with it. All right, we out.
Peace.